This is ASOTU Unscripted, and I'm your host, Errol Bomar.
All right, beautiful people. Errol Bomar here. We are back, ASOTUCON 2025. This is Unscripted. I'm super excited because, we're going to continue to have these unscripted conversations. So if you have cue cards, if you have anything that you brought, we're throwing it out the window, all right? So I'd like to welcome up our next guest. And Lou, I didn't ask you beforehand, and it's shame on me because I should have asked you beforehand. But please, how do I pronounce your last name?
Cannata.
Cannata. I was going to butcher it, so I'm glad that I asked, right? So you see me holding myself accountable. I don't know if you guys seen it, but I glanced down a couple times like, I don't want to take the chance. So Lou, welcome. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
So first and foremost, did you bring notes? Do you have any cue cards?
No.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I ask everyone just to kind of make it easy. Is this your first ASOTUCON?
Yes, first ASOTUCON.
Good, but not the last, right?
Not the last.
All right. So here's the challenge. You got to come back next year and bring somebody with you. That's the goal for next year, right?
I will.
If everybody that came their first time brings somebody, we're going to grow that much bigger, and it's going to be great.
Absolutely.
All right. So I love that. All right. So tell me a little bit about, I call it the origin story, right? Because not all heroes wear capes. Some wear gray blazers, which you look great, by the way.
Thank you.
But we've got to know the origin story. How did you get into this atmosphere, this world that we call the car industry? And then we'll talk a little bit about what's going on now and what excites you, and maybe even have some time to talk about future stuff.
That's awesome.
But tell us how you got here.
So my story is I'm second generation owned, family owned business.
Okay.
So we're in automotive. Being a new car sector, I was interested to learn.
Yes.
Coming here, but 49th year in business. Took over the business in 2023.
Okay.
And I just always had a passion for people, a passion for helping people and serving. And through my growth of our business, we've been able to do that over the years and keeping my father's legacy and moving forward with that. So, I grew through it, started with cleaning bathrooms, started all the baseline stuff.
Wow.
My father told me I had to learn all the steps of the business.
Absolutely.
And as I did so, and this is my 28th year.
Okay.
Full-time in my family business.
Wow.
And, definitely over the last 5 years, we've made tremendous growth with our team. And really it's starting what the whole message of this whole conference is. I found myself, I became aware of what I want out of my life, and I was able to help with my mentor, been able to really work on getting clarity, defining my purpose, and aligning that with my family business.
It's
and
amazing.
Impacting the people that are in our organization.
That's great. That's great. Now, I love that you said, I started from cleaning the bathrooms. If that doesn't give you a whole different perspective, right? And the reason I say that is because when you do have the opportunity to go through each step, right? Each little segment, it allows you to appreciate others and what they go through on a day-to-day basis, right? It gives you the perspective to be able to say like, oh yeah, I know what that's like. And so I can respect that and appreciate that more. But let me ask you this, and I don't know if you have one defining moment, because 28 years is a good amount of time, but do you have a moment where you can say, you know what, this was one of those periods where I determined that I love people more than I love this product?
Yeah, wow. I was a kid.
Okay.
I was a kid, and I would go in on Saturdays to the shop, and my dad was an entrepreneur. My father, both my parents are first generation.
Okay.
I'm a first generation American. They both came from Italy.
Wow.
And so my father came here at 13, was adopted by his aunt and uncle.
Yes.
His father had passed, and by 22 he was a business owner.
Amazing.
And I've learned I've gained my entrepreneurial spirit from my dad.
Yeah.
And so as a kid, I would go into work and I would take different products that he had in the showroom. I'd make a little store outside the shop, trying to get people to buy my products. That was there, and it started with that, and then it started growing with. I remember specifically when I started having my first meetings and taking that lead. But I've always loved helping people, and it's just always watching my parents. It's my parent. My parents have always helped their family. Have always helped people. My mother was in human resources at an energy firm locally at home for many years. She was employee relations. She helped many Italians in their community get jobs there. My father helped so many people. So it's just been kind of embedded in around me my entire life.
That's amazing. I love that. So it's like, I hope everyone caught that loving people is just contagious, right? It's one of those things where if you see it modeled, or if you're around it long enough, it just becomes a part of who you are, right? So what about now? Like, what's exciting you now? When you get up in the morning, when you put those feet on the floor, what's driving you? Like, what's that motivating factor for you now?
There's a lot.
Okay.
So
let's go through it.
I've had tremendous growth. So last year I lost my dad in February.
I understand.
And in that process, thank you. And in that process too, I was found I had a precancerous tumor on my pancreas.
Wow. Okay.
So last year I look back at the year and I say the year was an amazing year because
Absolutely.
I learned gratitude. I'm a very grateful human being, but I learned even more gratitude. But what it did was I learned about time. And if things didn't go well for me, it would have been a different story for me. But things went very well for me. But what it did is this year's growth, I've had two major areas of growth which I believe transformed me. One was I defined my definition of success.
Okay.
Up until this point, it's been muddied.
Yeah.
And I've shared the story with many, but now, one's definition of success is based upon one's perception.
Yeah.
And my perception is I define that, which living my purpose, which is to make people smile every day. I get up to do that every day. And we talked about learning every aspect of the business. I grew up, my father, definitely never nepotism in our business, but he always taught me, like, I need to work as harder than anybody else, and I need to respect, and I just had to earn that. But my challenge was on the accountability side of holding my team accountable because I was always equal. I always looked at myself as equal because that's the way my father raised me, it's the rules that I had.
Absolutely, yes.
And what I discovered this year was this. It says, yes, I am an equal as a human being. I will always be kind, always be loving, and I'll always be who I am. But in our relationship, I have all the financial risk. Yeah. So with this now, I have the privilege to hold them to a high level of accountability, for them to be and to achieve everything that they would have ever hoped, personally, professionally, and also for myself.
Yeah.
So it's a newfound energy. I mean, I start my days out of a 7-day week. 4 days a week, I'm up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, ready to go. I have so much energy in what I want to do, which led me to where I'm at now. I've launched a level 5 leadership coaching consulting. I have a passion for working with business owners, entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And I have a passion to help. Again, my purpose is to make people smile. Yeah. So if I can teach business owners, teach them different leadership skills, teach them how to explore and find their gifts, then my purpose can be pressed through their organizations, and if we can make people smile. So
100%. And I love it because you're absolutely correct. First off, my sincerest condolences for the loss of your father. I lost my father this year in January, so I understand. It's a weird dynamic, so I do understand a little bit about that. But what I love that you said, and I hope that everyone catches this, is that your perspective shifted, right? Yes. The goal line, so to speak, used to be the monetary aspect of it, right? Which I think a lot of times when you grow up in that working mindset, it's the providing. It's not necessarily that you glorify money, but you understand that it does afford you a certain level of freedom or comfort or ability to provide for your family, etc. Right? But also the big thing is that now purpose is the motivator, right? Purpose is the factor. And what I think sometimes, especially from an entrepreneurial standpoint, sometimes people miss passion and purpose provides, right? Yeah. If you go after the passion and the purpose, the doors, the situations, the other things, like the provision will be there if you just go for the passion and the purpose. And so many times we see so many people that they're trying to do something, but it's just like, well, what do you want? Like, what's that thing? Like you said, 2 or 3 in the morning, I'm waking up and I'm ready to go. That's a whole different level. That's nothing but passion and purpose, right? Yeah. That's not like, oh, the alarm clock goes off and you're like, all right, let me, that's like, no, let's go, let's get it. And I love that. Yeah. So tell people more about, if they want more information, where they can find you, if they want to be involved in the leadership training and entrepreneur training, how they can get involved in that. Let them know where they can contact you.
I can add one thing to something
that you
said.
Right? Absolutely.
So that was my muddied area, was the money part, the revenue. Okay. So in my 20 groups, right, go to my meetings, everything was centered around revenue. And I always would leave back and I wasn't motivated by that. I always felt not good enough because it was measurement. Yes. And until I've defined again what that was for me, and then again finding purpose. And that's what I hope to help people, to help them work through that, because it's hard, right? People have always I've probably been told a million times, get out of your comfort zone. I was on my journey. I had no idea how to do it. Yes. Right? I figured that out for myself. Yeah. So I have a process that I've developed, and it's what worked for me. Hopefully it can help others. But, to add to that, the name of my business is Level 5 Leadership Coaching and Consulting. It's L5leadership.com.
Okay.
And we just launched. Paul's a friend. Paul and I reconnected back in January this year, and he invited me to his event, and I'm again so blessed and grateful for the opportunity.
That's great. I love it. So what I'm looking forward to is when L5 comes back next year and you've got the group of entrepreneurs and they have the same excitement and that big eye like, wow, this is great. That's what we're going to look forward to next year.
I promise I'll get it done.
I love that. Thank
Pleasure.
you so much. Same here. Absolutely.
Pleasure.
Once again, this is Unscripted. Thanks for taking the time and joining us. We will see you on the next one. Stick tight.
Thank you for listening to Unscripted. At ASOTU, we're obsessed with uniting people around one big idea, that thriving people are the only path to a thriving and profitable industry. If that resonates with you, then head over to morethancars.com, join our email list, and explore our full list of podcasts.